KEET TV presents Homework Hotline, the after-school show that fuses learning with fun. Watch local teachers bring the classroom on air and online. This is Homework Hotline.
Homework Hotline. I'm Ken Pinkerton. I taught science at Zane Middle School.
And I'm Beth Baker, and I teach math at McKinleyville Middle School in McKinleyville. Ken and I were lucky enough to be colleagues for many years, so we're reunited today.
Yes, and last time we were here was in March together.
So
a lot's happened.
Yes,
since
back in March we were teaching people how to correctly wash their hands.
Right? So
how far we've come.
Right, so now the W's, the 3 W's of wash your hands, wash your distance, and wear a mask.
I hadn't heard that one before, the 3 W's. I like it.
So today's topic.
Today we're going to talk about board games, especially in the middle of winter and in the middle of quarantine, and especially because right now we're in sort of our strictest quarantine, is we're encouraging people to dig through their closets and find all your board games. And after you find all your board games, we're going to talk about all the math that's hiding in there. So we're going to trick you into doing math today and encourage you to dig out some board games and play them with your family. So we've got quite a pile of treasure here today, and this was dug out of closets at my house and classrooms, and I got this one out of my mom's attic. It was my kids' favorite when they were little, so we went to mom's attic.
Ho Cheerio.
Yes,
very good.
And I thought we'd start simple and work our way up today.
Nice.
And then I'm excited about what you brought too, so we'll talk about probability in that way too. Awesome. Okay, shall we start by flipping some coins?
Yeah, so very simplest probability is it's either heads or tails.
And also, usually most coins actually do have a real head on the front, and tails is just whatever crazy picture is on the back.
Right, so this one, and yours is different than mine. Mine, I've got the, it looks like
I think I have a fake dime.
I think I've got Monticello, I think.
You have a fake nickel.
Yeah, I have a fake nickel.
And I have a fake dime.
So I think Monticello, and it looks like the Liberty. Oh, that's the
Liberty's torch?
That's the old one. Yeah. That's the old design. So
all right.
So we could play a game where if we match, or we'll call it. You can call it. And,
Are you ready?
Okay, ready?
Okay, and we're going to call whether they're the same, heads, heads, tails, tails, or if they're different, a head and a tail.
Okay.
Okay, I'm going to call different.
Heads, the
heads.
same, so I get a point.
Okay,
here, I'm going to take a dice.
Okay, got it. Let's go again.
Okay. Whoops. I'm going to call. Same. Oh, so you get a point. Yep.
Okay, here we go. We're going to go again.
Let's play to 5, or to 3. Right.
Oh,
so games can be, neither of us called. It's your turn to call.
Oh, it's my turn. Okay, I'm going to call same.
Whoops, mine's off the table. We'll follow, that one's a heads. What do you got?
I got heads.
Oh, you got the same, you got 2.
Okay.
Okay, luckily we have a backup.
Okay.
Different. Oh, the same, so you get another one. You win.
All right, I won, I got to 3.
So it can be as simple as that. And you can make up rules as you go along.
And what's interesting about the game that Ken and I just made up together is we can take a minute and figure out if it's fair. So if I go to the board and we talk about, is this game that we just played fair? And why don't we call this 2 coin, same, or different. So we just made up a game on the spot, and then the question is, did we make up a fair game? And fair means, do we have an equal chance of winning? When my kids were little, their definition of fair was, did they win all the time?
Right.
So little kids have a different version of fair. And playing games is a wonderful way for kids to actually learn about fairness, and that you can have fun when something's fair, even if you don't win. All right, so here we go. So heads and heads, tails and tails, same wins.
Right.
But if we flip heads and tails, so if this is a penny and that's a dime, that's equally likely as if the penny is tails and the dime is heads. So there are really 2 ways, and sometimes people don't understand this piece as much. But if you're using a penny and a dime, it's easier to see.
Right.
If this is a penny and this is a dime, heads on the penny, tails on the dime is equally likely to tails on the penny, heads on the dime. So yes, we would call this a fair game.
Right.
There are 2 ways, if the pen will work, 2 ways to win calling same, and there's 2 ways to win calling different.
Right.
So even though we just made up a game on the spot, I think we figured out that it would be.
It's a pretty fair game.
It would be an unfair game if you called it heads wins. So if any head won,
Right.
that would be unfair because tails would only happen 1/4 of the time.
Right.
So if you want to trick your little sister or little brother into playing an unfair game, you
Right.
might play a game called like Tails or Poison or
Right.
something like that.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I get the heads, you get the tails. And
Yes.
and
Well,
let's
thank
see
you for
what it
bringing the
is.
humongous coins. I brought coins today too, but I've just brought the little kind. Usually I keep these on my desk at school, and when I call a kid their older brother or sister's name, I give them a quarter as like a sorry.
Oh, nice.
Or a little piece of like penny candy. So at this point in my career, I'm calling all the kids their older brothers and sisters' names that were in my class. So I just
So you
pay
got to
up.
stock up.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
So right now in distance learning, I can't pay up, so I'm keeping my quarters. Right
Woohoo.
now. I'm still calling kids the wrong name, but
To get you a roll,
I didn't give
so,
that up. Yeah.
Very good. So
So
let's talk about one of your games.
we
then.
talked
So
about
what's-
coins, and I thought we'd start with the spinner
Okay.
today, and I thought we'd start with Ho Cheerio just because my kids loved it so much when they were little. So maybe we could get Skycam going for this one in a minute. We'll see how that goes.
Oh, nice.
So Ho Cheerio, I have it upside down. There it is. Ho Cheerio is a game that my kids played with their grandma when they were little, and it's super simple. So if you have the yellow bucket and I have the blue bucket,
Okay.
we take
Oh, I see
turns
the colors
spinning.
now, right?
And the spinner just says what happens. So either the bird eats one of the cherries off your tree,
Uh-huh.
or you get 1, 2, 3, or 4 cherries. You spill your cherry basket, all of the
them go back
cherries go
in,
in.
so, right.
And I can't remember what the dog does, so somebody will have to look that up.
Oh, I
for me.
bet you it steals one. It fetches.
Maybe it fetches one, yeah. Or maybe
yeah.
it's respin, I don't know
I
what
don't know
it
what
is.
it is. So, and then the cool thing about this is it illustrates with spinners is that your coins don't go flying across the room.
Yeah, so it's a little more, and also there's rules with spinners too, like at
Right.
least in our house, it's always been that if it doesn't go around at least one time,
Right.
so it's hard to manipulate. So I think kids are always trying to very carefully hit the 4, you know,
Right.
for example.
Oh, yeah.
And then you can play to finish the game, do you have to hit the perfect number or can you
Right.
hit over?
Right.
So then you get at least 3 or more than 3. So I thought we'd start a game
Okay.
by just put some cherries on your tree and we'll
Okay.
go to the end of the game.
Okay.
Okay.
And this should be a fair game because there's no advantage of.
Exactly, and we're going to take turns. When you bump the table, cherries fly everywhere, and then you have to have a discussion.
Right.
Sometimes a shouted discussion about who just did that.
Okay.
Why don't we each leave 5 empty spots?
Okay,
1,
I'm
2,
there.
3, 4, 5, yeah.
So there's
All right.
9 on there already? Or you got 10? I got 5 too. Yep.
Okay.
Okay,
Good.
so
All
you,
right.
you go first. Here, we'll get that out of the way.
Okay. And then to be fair, we might even rock, paper, scissors to see
Right.
who goes first.
Yeah.
Right, but I'll just go first today. But rock, paper, scissors is
And
another
that's
fair
another
game
one,
that
right?
you can play.
That's,
With lots of ties. There's great rock, paper, scissors competitions, big ones that you can do. All right, so I'm hoping to get, so the 1, 2, 3, or 4 are all good for me right now.
right.
And so
So are we
any
playing,
of
you have to
them.
get all of them off or you have to get them equally on?
Okay, so,
win?
so we are trying to pick the cherries off the tree.
Oh, you're taking them
Yeah,
off. Okay.
And a bird came along, and I can't remember what the bird does.
I think it gives you one back.
Okay,
It
yeah,
sounds like a
let's-
penalty.
Yeah, let's go. Okay,
you
penalty.
go.
There we go. So you
Okay.
spin.
So we're taking them off.
So whatever is going
Okay,
on,
so
yeah,
I
you
got
get to
one.
pick a cherry.
Okay. So
Is that what's important about the spinner is that whatever's, gosh dang that bird, is whatever's going on is it's fair,
right.
even if one person is losing. Losing is still fair,
Right.
which some people don't get.
Oh, I got two
Two.
off.
Uh-oh.
Okay, now so we're playing
I'm
though.
in
I have
real
to get 'em-
trouble.
I have to get a 2 or a 1.
So
right.
if I was playing with very young children, I would say any number greater
Right.
than, and I would certainly play it that way to
Yeah.
start with. Okay,
4.
Four,
Ooh, all right,
yay.
you got a chance.
Okay. Here we go.
The competition is still.
All right.
All right. Oh, 4. That doesn't
Oh.
do me any good.
Okay. Oh, well, if you were a really little kid,
Right,
we
we'd
would just
just
let you
say,
be done.
okay.
And since we want to play our next game, I think
Okay.
we'll declare you the champion
Oh,
of Ho
woohoo!
Cheerio.
I love this
Yes.
game.
This is a really fun game. But what's the probability here is that you can, kids very quickly get to sort of estimating what their chances are. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4 good slices on the spinner.
Right.
But there are 3 slices on the spinner that are not so good.
Right.
Especially spilling your basket where you have to fill your tree back up.
Right. So your odds
So
of
that one.
being successful are better than the penalties. Then. So,
Yeah. Yep,
so that
absolutely.
that's probably why your
Yes.
kids liked it. So.
And you know, if you're camped out at grandma's having hot chocolate sitting at the kitchen table, you know, the game is like not the most important.
Right.
Like no one's going pro on this game. There's no pro circuit. You don't have to take it that seriously. So that one is really, so hi Ho Cheerio, and super simple because it's just one thing going on that
Right.
kids have to understand.
Nice.
It doesn't have any compound probability. It's
All
not even as
self-contained.
complicated as the
Nice little.
coin game that we
Yeah.
just played with.
Oh, that's cute.
And I think you have grandchildren, don't you?
Yes. Oh, that's a great game.
So I recommend this for like 4,
Cool.
like if you're about 3 or 4 years old. It's super fun.
Right.
You can also do it in teams.
Uh-huh.
So if you have a grown-up that can help a really little kid play.
Nice, very good.
So I
and,
thought
and we were talked about it earlier, is that games are a wonderful way for little ones, especially, to learn to be patient and to take turns and all of the things that we like people to be able to do.
All
in
those
game
adult
playing.
skills
and
that
to
pay
win
off
and
later.
win and lose gracefully.
Yes.
Yeah,
Why don't we
all
look at
those
one
things.
more game, and then I want to hear about your gumballs that you
Okay.
brought. How's that?
That sounds good.
Okay.
I love the games.
So I'm going to switch over, and we're going to talk about another game
move
with the
this one up here.
spinner. And I picked this one because it's a much more complicated game.
A game of life.
The game of life. And this one is got very old school values. So the professions were making me giggle because it was like, attorney and fashion model. And so they're not, like, no one is doing AutoCAD in this
Yes.
game for the, So,
So
it's
as I
pretty
recall, you
entertaining.
drive around with, and you get a family too, right?
Yes, you do.
so
And
this
they're
one-
all pink and blue. They're
Right.
color-coded. So it was all
Color-coded.
a little old-fashioned.
Right.
But really what I want to talk about on this one is this has a spinner, and I think this particular game is a little bit on the beat-up
Need
side.
some oil.
But the spinner is really just the same as a 10-sided dice.
Oh, nice.
So if you had a dice that counted to 10, and
Uh-huh.
this one's 12 and this one's 8, so I don't have a 10-sided one
Mm-hmm.
here. But if your spinner broke, it
could
would
do
be
that,
just
so
as
right.
fair, and it would work just as well if you could just roll a 10-sided dice.
Nice. Very good.
Also, in any game where you all agree together, this happens to be a 12-sided dice. If the spinner broke and you all agreed that that dice was okay, then you could just switch over and play it.
Right. Or you
So-
could say that that 11 and 12 are just a do-over or something
Yeah,
like that.
or,
so,
you know,
or 1 or
just-
2 or whatever you
So
wanna do.
lots of games have house rules, which is
Uh-huh.
if you all agree to, so when we play Scrabble, we play that you can recycle the blank.
Uh-huh.
So if someone plays the blank as an E and you have an E in your hand, you can trade it out at
Oh,
that
nice.
time.
That's a cool one.
So we do. So there's always house rules about stuff.
Right. Very
But
cool.
in any case, in this game, you could just swap it out. The Ho Cheerio game would be a lot trickier because the slices actually tell you what to do.
Right. Yeah.
Right? This one is just generating numbers.
Yeah, unless you had created
So that's
a,
why I brought.
an
And I have never
interpretation
played this
one,
game
so.
before, by the way.
I used to play this one all the time.
How
whenever I
long
was a
does
kid,
it
so.
take? Is it a long game or a short game?
I think it's a medium game. It's not Monopoly by any means. So,
Yeah,
so
Monopoly.
Monopoly is,
Yeah.
is the standard for a long, bitter game.
Yes.
So
I
that goes.
adore my cohort group that I get to teach online. So if you guys are there, hi. And if you sent me jokes, like Tuesday, Aiden and Morgan sent us to do this show with jokes, if you sent them to me, I didn't find them, and I'll take them next time, so sorry.
Right.
But my cohort online has been typing into the comments if they love or hate Monopoly.
Uh-huh.
And there's definitely two kinds of people in the world.
Oh,
I
there is.
love Monopoly, don't like Monopoly.
Right.
Not a lot of people saying, oh, big deal, I can take it or leave it, I don't really mind.
Uh-huh.
It seems to get the passions rolling, the Monopoly. I myself
If it-
am a hater, I'm just going to admit it.
Right. I think maybe
Okay.
single children like it more than.
I don't know. My cousin made me play when I was little, and I'm still mad at you, Eric. So just so you know.
You've
Okay.
been scarred by Monopoly. So.
Yes,
right.
rainy days when I was at his house, and we'd play and play and play.
Right. So.
So we'll talk about games, and I brought ones that are sort of progressively more complicated. But can we take a break and talk about your gumball machine?
Yeah, well, the gumball machines, this is some of the things that we do at the Humboldt Math Festival. We have a probability table, and so some of the things we talk about is that this gumball has 4 yellows in it, and it's got 4 greens in it.
Are there 4 yellows in there?
Yeah,
Can I
they're-
turn it
they're in
over?
the- yeah, you can
Okay.
turn it over.
Oh, I see.
And then this
Okay.
one has 5, and I
Uh-huh.
just picked them arbitrarily. It could be
Oh,
4.
yeah.
And there's 3 colors in this one.
Uh-huh.
So if you were playing a game for which one would you rather play for you to win? Where it only
Okay.
had 2 colors, or if it had 3 colors?
And what would, in this case for our game, what would winning be?
A new car.
Oh, that's the prize. The game says you win if you do what?
If you call the right color.
So if I call the color and then get the color I call,
Right.
kind of like we just did with the coins.
Right.
Okay, so let's see. Here I have 5 orange, 5 pink, and 5 blue. So if I reduce my fractions, because I'm good that way, I have an equal chance to get
Right.
orange, pink, or blue.
Right.
Okay, so there's one of each. And this one, there's 4 yellow and 4 green. Oh, so it's equally likely. Oh, I like that setup. So it doesn't really matter. So then I just go with green because I like green.
Well, but now think about that.
Okay.
Which one would be?
Oh, no, so this one would be more likely because it's half green.
Right, and it's only got
2 colors.
2 colors, right.
Got it. So this one would be a little less likely because this would
Right.
be 1/3 each.
Yeah, so you'd have, so
I
odds
got
are on
it.
this one is you'd have a 50-50 or 1 out of 2 chance of getting the color you called. But this one would be 1 out of 3.
Got it. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And then I can throw it off if I threw, 5 more pinks in there, let's see. And now I have,
So now we have 10 pinks.
now I've got 10 pinks.
Oh,
and-
so
and
this
then-
is half pink again because there's 10 pinks and 10 non-pinks.
Right, and then,
Got
so
it.
the probability would be you've got a better chance of getting a pink, so
Yeah.
you definitely.
Can we turn the
would
handle
be-
and make a
Yes,
gumball fall
yeah.
out? That's what I really want to do. Okay, here we
So
go.
what are you gonna call it?
Oh, I'm going to call yellow.
Okay,
And I'm going to call yellow for a nice new car.
all
Okay,
right.
let's see what we get. I'm afraid I'm going to break it. I don't want to turn it too hard. Will,
Sometimes
will
it
I
gets
hurt
stuck in
it?
Yay!
There!
You did it. All right.
Woohoo! There's my new car.
All right.
Yay!
Now, will it be an old Datsun or will it be
Oh, yeah.
a new Mercedes? So
By the way,
now you've got to
Datsun,
call it
you'll
in
just
this
have
one.
to Google
Oh,
Datsun,
that's right,
kids.
so
Yeah.
Nissan,
Okay.
Nissan.
There
Yeah,
we
well,
go.
an old Nissan.
Yeah.
Okay, so now,
Okay,
you gonna
now
call
I'm
now?
for sure going to go for pink because this now has 10 pink, 5 blue,
okay,
and 5 orange. So I'm for sure going to go pink. Okay.
so that would be the
we
wiser
go.
choice, but
Let's see. I might be turning it the wrong direction.
Sometimes you have to shake it a little bit to get it in there too.
Okay. Got to rough it up.
Oh,
And I got
oh, you got
orange.
orange.
Wah, wah,
Right,
wah.
right,
Okay, I
right.
did not win.
So-
All right.
So,
Oh, well,
and
that
then
is really
what
fun.
kind of illustrates that, though, is when it's kind of game theory, is that if you're playing, we talked about it a little bit earlier, like with Scrabble, do you want to talk about that? If you're
Yeah.
looking at a letter, or like in Monopoly, don't you have to, sometimes if you play, you have to end on go or something like that.
Oh, depending on which rules
yeah.
you're playing by. And I think Monopoly now has fast play
Right.
and slow play rules.
Right.
And so people really analyze the game to see if they're going to play for a long time or not. This is kind of small and you may not be able to see it. But when you're playing Scrabble, and I love Scrabble, but no one in my house does, and so I have to like beg people to come and play with me. But if I want the word zinc,
Right.
like this, and I have Z-I-N, and I really want that C for zinc because I want to spend my Z. Do I have
Right.
it upside down again?
No,
I keep
you're
trying
right.
to-
I think you're okay.
I keep trying to show the studio what's going
Okay,
on.
there we go.
Okay. And I'll just keep turning things over to drive the camera crew crazy.
there we
That
go.
seems like, okay, so there's Z-I-N. So let's say I really want a C. I can look at this list right here and I can tell C, there's only 2 C's in the entire collection. So if I close my eyes and go to pick a C, it's not very likely.
Right.
So maybe instead of this, maybe I go ahead and just spell a different word. So
Right.
maybe I just go ahead and spell bin and save my Z for later. Because with 2 C's in it, it's very unlikely that I'm going to get that C
Right,
to
you see,
spell.
especially and then if you're playing in the game, if there's already a C on the board, or if you have
Right.
Zin and you're think zinc, that would be awesome, but then look around and it's not there,
Yep,
or it's already got 2 C's out.
exactly. So
so-
maybe instead of zinc, I'm just going to
Do bin.
do
yeah,
bin and
right.
just turn some letters over and play again. So I'm always checking the probability, which is why the letter distribution is here.
Uh-huh.
And distribution is even a math word because distribution is telling us the probability of getting any of
Right.
these.
Of how they're done.
And if we notice here, there's tons of vowels. So there's 9 A's, 12 E's, I, there's 9. Okay, I,
O.
O, 8, and U. And U, there's 4.
There's
And
only
of course,
4.
U adds a complication because if you get the Q,
you have to.
you definitely want the U
Want
or
the-
a blank.
Right. Definitely.
Yeah.
in there.
In my family, we're famous for thinking that we have a blank and someone goes, would you turn that over? And sure enough, not really a blank, just someone who can't find the front of the tile.
It's like putting out a word that looks.
Oh, that looks like a
to
word?
dare your family or your players to challenge that word if it's a real word or not.
Oh,
right?
yeah, absolutely. So I just brought Scrabble real quick just because of the
So even though
probability.
it's letters, that there's the math involved in that.
In the likelihood.
In the, yeah, the likelihood.
And
they're
they
gonna
say
go.
really good Scrabble players do not wait hoping to pull the letter of their dreams. Is you really just play the board and you play what's in your rack, and you do not like try to like wait to get, like you have some amazing word and you just keep waiting and waiting and waiting to pull that last letter. Just
Life is
resist
going to
it.
pass you by, huh?
Yes.
So it's going to be so.
This one is very similar in terms of knowing what's going on to bingo.
Oh, nice.
So if we think about a bingo card, and we're not going to play bingo
That one
today.
out like this, I guess.
Yeah.
Or,
And I'm hoping to talk about Monopoly first and then Yahtzee. Crazy math in that one.
okay.
But if you look at the bingo card, it just goes through 75. And so at any given time, you know if you're trying to fill up your bingo card, the numbers just go 1 through 75. Like there's nothing complicated about
Right.
it. So you can always just go, oh, well, I need what? There's not like several of options.
Right.
If you need B13, that's going to happen one time out of 75.
Right.
So everything is a 1 in 75 chance. And then it gets, as the game goes on, it'll be 1 in 74 and 1 in 73 and 1 in 7, as the card fills up.
Right, right, right.
But it's not hard to calculate the odds in bingo. So I don't know if that's one of the reasons why it's really popular, because it's not, there's no strategy in that way.
Right.
So I did go to a casino once and try to play bingo, and everyone was playing 5 bingo cards. And the very elderly woman next to me kept looking over and using her big bingo marker, which I had never
Help you
even
out.
seen before. I didn't even know what it was at first. And she would lean over, look at my cards, and just like look at me like, you cannot keep up. And she'd go bap, 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 bap on my cards for me. I was a mess. I could
That's
not
great.
play 5 bingo cards at speed.
Right.
So my one, it certainly taught me respect for that lady's
Right.
brain to hand coordination. Oh my goodness.
Well, that's great. And quick number analysis, too. Boy, that's
Oh,
really
wow.
cool.
Yeah, she was amazing. So in any case, bingo in that respect is mathematically super simple,
Right,
which is not to say easy to win.
right.
So
And then
in
as
any
you get
case-
down closer, like if you only had one, then like you say, every time your odds get a little bit better.
Yeah, as the game progresses.
And then if you have 2, but then you also have to realize that if you have lots of other people playing.
Yeah, so
that
usually a lot of
complicates it.
people all win on that final number, whatever
Nice.
the heck it
Right,
is.
yeah.
So, and then when I first started teaching, I had one of those bingo sets that was the wooden balls with the number on it in
Oh,
the
nice.
cage, and you could turn the handle, and then it would fall out. It was wonderful. It was
Yeah.
a little bit like the gumball machine,
Right.
actually. All right.
Very good.
I thought we would also talk a little bit about, I think you brought your pie chart, and I wanted to talk about that a little bit, how
Right.
you made a pie graph out of the gumballs. Could we talk
Out of
about
the-
that
yeah,
for a minute?
so this one is one where I
I
haven't cut
love
the sticks
this
properly
beyond
yet, but
anything.
yeah,
I'll
I've got to
just
get
shove
the
'em
sticks
around
the
a little
right
bit.
size, and so this is if you're looking at your number distribution, you can do a pie chart, and
That is so cool.
ideally
though.
we'd have those really all the way full with each of the colors, but it's
Right.
kind of a crude pie chart. And then you could play a game as simple as if you had this your person could close their eyes and say, okay, I'm going to try and pick a blue, and then they have to have their hand. You'd have to come up with the rules of doing it, and then see, do you pick a blue? And then you could look at, with this one, there's 1, 2, 3, approximately 10 blues, 6 oranges, 4 pinks, and it looks like 9.
Yep.
So your best random number to pick would be a blue, or not random color to pick would be a blue.
But just the idea that you could make the slices.
Right.
And now that we've thrown all the oranges in here, I think it's off a little bit.
Yeah,
It
it's
was
a little
organized a
bit,
little better
right,
before.
yeah.
But I just thought that was a really wonderful idea to create a circle graph or a pie chart, just using such simple things as
things
sticks
like that,
and paper plates. I thought that was pretty wonderful. That's, I'm going to move on right now. Oh, I forgot to put these back in. I'll put them back later. I thought we would talk a little bit about the dice in Monopoly right now. And so the next one we're going to do. And this time I'm going to leave it right side up so camera 1 can do its thing without me flipping the board over, which is what I did before. And this one has this really charming little dialogue talking to Mr. Moneybags about how you should play, and him giving advice to the players. So I thought that was pretty cool. I hadn't seen that. And maybe I've just always played old beat up boards before. So maybe that piece is just long gone by the time I
and this
get
is
it.
great. Number 13, may I make up my own rules? No.
Oh, yeah.
So apparently he doesn't belong to my family or yours.
No, because we make up all of our own rules all the time, sometimes in the middle of the game without telling anyone else. Yeah, yeah. So what's interesting about this one is if we've set it up, and for people who have played Monopoly before, do you want to pick one particular, like
Sure.
the red ones or something? Do you want to put a house on each
Yeah.
one? Yeah, so we're going
I'm
to,
going to put a hotel on each one.
okay.
I'm
Ooh, a
going
hotel
big
on each
time.
one. Okay. You're on fire here.
I am.
Okay. So then if my little marker here, and I always beg to be the dog, by the way. So if I'm, and then which way? We go this way, right?
Right.
So if I'm, let me move these over a bit. So if my little doggy is right here, and I'm getting ready to run the gauntlet, so if I stand on these, it's going
Right,
to cost
it's
me
a
a tremendous amount of money, is when I go to throw my dice, I want to think really hard about what the likelihood is. So when I throw these dice, I'm thinking really hard. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. A 7 is bad.
Right.
8, 9, 10. So 7,
7,
9,
9.
and 10 are going to get me in real trouble.
Right.
And the question is, how likely is that?
Right.
So are 7s, 9s, and 10s equally likely? And together, how likely are they? So here's my little doggy.
Right.
And I'm going to roll. And I got a 4, thank goodness.
Woohoo!
1,
That was
2,
close.
3, 4.
Right.
So then let's say you take your turn. Hopefully you're over here and something dastardly happens to you because you land on my park place or
Right.
something. Yeah.
Then I
So
owe
that
you
would be
all
good.
my money, and I have to trade in. Well, let's say I have to trade in.
Your hotel for
I
a
have to
house?
mortgage my motel.
Okay,
Let's
yeah.
say, and
There
now.
we go. And
now
I think you go back to 2 houses by the way.
okay.
Yeah. Like that. I'm pretty sure. Okay. So,
So
now
now
I.
the bads are 1, 2, and 3.
Uh-huh.
And then the 6 and 5 is not so bad. And then what's cool, I don't know, is that
Yeah.
that they're
7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Woohoo!
Woohoo! I
And not only
just
that,
made it.
yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Yeah, and I landed on a railroad. Who knows what's going to happen to me
Right.
there. So you have this great little chart that shows the likelihood. So if I can take a look when my little
Right.
doggy was back here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so 6, 8, and 9. I can
Right.
see 6s. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 combinations that will get a
Right.
6. Then 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 combinations for the 8. And 9, 1, 2, 3, 4 combinations.
Right,
So 5 and 5, 10. There were 14 combinations that would get me in trouble
right,
out of 36 total.
right, right.
So I was super lucky for my little doggy not to hit one of your
All of
hotels or
those.
your.
Right, right, right.
Yeah.
And so,
So being aware, like these little charts
Mm-hmm.
are super useful when it comes to analyzing these games. So one of the things that I thought we'd talk about today is being strategic. You can either just find a chart or you can make your own chart, but it will make you a much better player and you will win more often. And we all know that winning a lot equals fair, right? Is that we can really kind of take a look.
Yeah.
I think the first time I got a big aha on the rolling 2 dice and that they're not all equally, the sums are not all equally likely, was playing Monopoly with my cousin Eric when I was a little kid. I remember going, oh, there's lots of ways to roll a 7. Uh-oh, there's not very many ways to roll a 12. So that was kind of
right, so.
the final, my
Well-
final aha.
It's been fun.
Thanks for being with us today. Tune in
Yep.
next week. There'll be another team of teachers, so we were really happy. Remember, if you're stuck inside, play some board games.
Play some games.
Yay.
Play that.